Hello, I'm Clare Wuellner with Blue Victory Gallery in Austin, Texas. This tutorial has been created for folks just like you to draw a monarch butterfly from scratch. It's designed to work for ages 5 and up, maybe with a little help, and for all skill levels. The monarch you draw can be drawn just for fun, or you can send it in and it will be part of an art installation. For more information about this project, please read the video description. Thanks for watching, and enjoy drawing your monarch. What you will need is paper, of course. If you are sending your butterfly in to me to put in a museum installation, then you will need to use a specific type of paper because it's got to be archival. And if you look on the cover, you'll see the word acid free. That's the kind you want. You also want paper that's fairly heavy so that it can stand up to the test of time. And you'll need pens. I prefer Sharpies because they hold their color well over time. They are defined, they're inexpensive, and the colors are desaturated, so they do not bleed. You'll need a black Sharpie, you need orange for coloring in the wings. I like more than one color because you can play with shading that way. You'll need a silver marker for the white spot on the wing. The monarch, why not use a white pen? Because white markers are notoriously difficult to work with. The color behind the white obviously through. The silver does not allow that. The white marker will clog and dry up on you. This one is going to wind up looking shiny and reflect light perfectly to get it with white. So, silver marker. Yes. It's an equal marker. You will also need scissors. The principle with this tutorial is based on from Ed Emberley's drawing books. His drawing books are amazing, and I used them myself until I first learned to draw, and I highly recommend them to anyone, with kiddos or adults. It's just brilliant stuff. His principle is that if you can reach any of these shapes, then you can draw anything. And it's true, because anything you can draw, specifically lines, dots, circles, and so forth. I have a link in the video description for his book so that you can take the thing. There's one more thing you'll need to draw this butterfly, and that is to give the critic that lives in your head, if you have one, give them a vacation. Every one of these butterflies is different, and every single one of them is perfect and beautiful. Yours will be too, I promise. This piece of paper that I'm drawing on is about 6 inches, 5 inches. Real monarchs are about 4 inches across on their wingspan. We're going to draw ours about 5 inches across on the wingspan because there are details in the wings. It will be easier to draw if you make it a little larger in height. If I tell you to draw what looks like a bird off in the distance and a landscape scene, I would suggest drawing it similarly to that as possible. If you draw it like this, your butterfly is going to look very different from mine at the end. So draw this bird off in the distance in a landscape painting and do it as similarly to mine as you can. Then we're going to put a thorax. That is the middle segment of all insects. Insects have 3 segments. They have a head, the thorax, and then they have an abdomen. The head, thorax, and abdomen altogether should be about 2/3 of the length of the wing. So I think my wings need to be a little bit longer, just a tiny bit, so that the proportions are right. Then make a line that continues the leading edge of the forewing so that it's smooth. Halfway between the abdomen and that curved line, halfway between, but a little bit up, the dot. That is the very important dot. And we'll use that as a reference point for several things that we're going to draw. And we're going to do one of them right away, and that is draw a smile from the tip of the abdomen to your very important dot. Tip of the abdomen, the very important dot. And draw from the very important dot a line straight to the end of the wing. And in the middle of those two lines, put a reference point. From the very important dot to the reference dot, draw a slightly curved line underneath the line that you drew here, and then a slightly curved line over that line from the reference point to the tip of the wing. Do the same on the other side. Slightly curved line under, slightly line curved over, and then fill in that space that's in between the two lines. Next, we're going to draw a line from the middle of the thorax to the very important dot. Straight there, straight there. Now we have our 4 wings. Again, we're going to drop a line down underneath the line that we drew from the thorax to the very important dot, so that we have a border on that front wing that's curved and smooth. The border on the leading edge of the forewing is thicker at the tip of the wing than it is at the body. So we're going to draw a slightly curved line that gets thicker towards the tip of the wing on both sides. Then we're going to do something that I call race tracking. If you watch race cars, they don't go up into the corner of every part of the racetrack. They smooth the curves out as much as they can when they drive. So we're going to pretend that your pen is a race car, and you're going to start about here. You're going to go around this corner here, smooth it out. That little bump right there, smooth that out, and then make this a nice curve here, and then fill that in on both sides, starting about the middle of the wing, curve around, smooth this little bump right out here, and then up and around the tip of the wing. Fill all the empty space up so you have nice solid borders. We're going to do it for the outside of the wing also. There's a little crooked part here that needs to be smoothed out, so we're going to go like that, and there you will have nice smooth borders on the wings for your butterfly. Next, let's do the border on the hind wings. Those are your smiley wings. They should be about 1 centimeter thick. That's about somewhere between 1/4 and 1/3 of an inch thick, because we're going to be putting a lot of white spots on this border, so you need the space to do that. So make sure it's pretty thick, and then fill it in. If the miles are too short, you can draw this thickening part underneath. If they are too large, you can do it on the inside of it. You can balance things out by putting your border where it works best. Now we're ready for some veins. I wanted to have the veins on the monarch be as close to accurate as possible. We're going to start with the hind wings up in the corner here, and we're going to do a curved line around either side of the abdomen. We'll fill it in. Those are veins. And veins in butterflies carry their blood, which is called hemolymph. Next, we're going to draw something a little different. You know how to draw a house, like that, correct? I'm going to draw an upside down house on a hill. Starting up in this corner right here, go out to about the middle of this space out here. There's your roof, the other side of your roof, and straight back to the hill. Same thing over here, down out to about the middle of the space, roof, roof, and then straight up to this hill here. Why do we do this? Here's why. 1, 2, 3 corners. You go straight to the edge of the wing. Then you have the wing venation for the back wings. Again, we're going to racetrack these so that they're smooth. They don't have corners. They should be nice and smooth. So go around them until everything looks like a cell. These are called cells, in fact, even though they are not a single cell, but it is the cell of a wing. So there's that one. And then this. So the hind wing is done. Let's go to the front wing. About halfway along this line, put a little reference dot on both sides. And then where our reference dot was before, about halfway along here, put the reference dot there. We're going to draw a line between those reference dots that's slightly curved in the same direction as the tip of the wing. So it's going to be like that. This cell that we just created out here at the tip of the wing, we're going to divide into 3. There will be one line that comes down on this side of the point up here, and another line that comes down on this side of the point. So one line on this side of that point, and another line on this side of that point. Divide all 3 of those, make a line that goes through the middle of them. It will be sideways, it will be at an angle, but it goes through all 3 of them and about the middle. This first cells right here, racetrack that. Oops. And you may lose part of it because it's pretty small. The next 2 sets of cells up, there's one cell that's out towards the edge of the wing and one that's towards the thorax of the butterfly. That cell you want to divide into 3. And then fill in the middle of those 3 cells that you just created. So divide into 3, boop, boop, and color that one in. These cells that remain, you need to racetrack so that they look smooth at the corners. And they're going to be pretty small. And they're small on the butterfly as well. You have to be careful because, at least if you're using this size of a Sharpie, it's easy to cover it up altogether. And if you do, that's perfectly fine, because if you look at monarch butterflies, there's a lot of variation in these spots. From the thorax out to the middle of that line that we drew here, we're going to draw a straight line. And over here as well. This cell we just created, the top, we're going to round the end of it so that it looks teardrop shaped and fill in that triangle that we just created there. Same over here, racetrack it, and then fill it in, fill that triangle in. From this line that we drew from the thorax towards the outside of the wing, we're going to draw 2 lines to divide this big cell into 3. Those lines need to go straight out to this edge, okay? So starting here, 1, 2. Same with this, 1, 2. And we're going to racetrack these. we've got the wing venation for our forewing. We just need some antennae. At the tips of the antennae, we're going to put a little teardrop shaped end. They do not have little round blobs at the end of their antennae. They have what are called clubs, and they look like teardrops, really. So, ta-da, we've got all of the basic butterfly shape done. Next, we're going to use a silver metallic pen to make the spots. We end up having a reflective quality that makes them look like you have white spots. So we're going to put 2 rows of spots on the edge of the hind wing, and same on the other wing. White spots will continue on up the outside edge of the forewing as well, so we can do 2. They even have 3 in places that it can fit. And it varies. There's a lot of variation in individuals, just like in human beings or dogs or anything else you're familiar with. Just have to look carefully and closely. Do a large silver spot here, again, large silver spot, and then a dash above the teardrop shaped cell. Same over here. And then a dash. Monarchs have a lot of spots on their bodies as well. They have them on their head, a spot on each side just below the antennae, a spot at the bottom of their heads, and then 2 spots on their shoulders, if you will, and 2 on their hips. So the front and back of the thorax, they have white spots. The segments on their abdomens, the edge of each segment, they have a little silver line. Very fancy. My favorite part, though, is that they have an exclamation point going down the middle of their thorax. I'm a monarch! Exclamation point, which I think is really pretty cool. Then they have a dot at the tip of each antenna, and we are done with the silver part. All right, so let's color our monarch in. You'll need 3 shades of orange. The dark orange are these cells, these 3 cells out at the edge. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2, 3. For the golden yellow part, these cells, all of the remaining tiny ones up at the top of the wing, they are yellowish orange. The rest of your monarch is orange. Now, I like to do mine with an ombre effect because I feel like it gives it more dimension. You can color yours however makes you happy. So I'm going to do this at the bottom edge of each cell. This pen that I'm using right now is an acrylic pen, so it paints over things. You have to be a little more careful with it. Or you can go back over the black with the marker when you get done. Hopefully you can see there's a bit of a gradient in the color, which makes it a little bit more dimensional. And then, are you ready for a bit of magic? Ta-da! Butterfly! I had such a good time doing this with you. I hope you enjoyed making a monarch butterfly as well. If you are going to send your butterfly to me to put in the installation, you'll need to put some things on the back of the butterfly. Your full name, the city, state, and country you're from, the date, and your age. This is particularly interesting to me if the person is very young, because I love seeing how beautifully they turn out, no matter how young the person is who makes the butterfly. Thanks for watching the video and making a butterfly with me. Take good care. Bye.